In this very first lesson, I'm going to show you how to navigate around in Cinema 4D. Now, to orbit around your scene, you simply hold down the Alt button and you left and you move around. This way you're able to orbit around the scene. Now, the next I'm going to show you how to pan. To pan, you hold down your Alt button and you press your middle mouse button and you're able to pan around your scene. Now, the next one is I'm going to show you how to zoom in or zoom out. Basically, there are two ways to do that. You can always use your middle mouse button, so you could scroll up to zoom out or scroll in to zoom in. And you can also hold down the Alt button and click on your right button mouse and you can move up or down to zoom in or zoom out. Now, if you don't have a mouse, Cinema 4D still provides another way to do all of these functions. Simply go to this top right area here and you see this first icon. Now, this icon is a move icon and allows you to move up and down in the scene. The next one allows you to zoom in or out, and the third one allows you to orbit around your scene. Now, the fourth one splits your viewport into 4 different views. To maximize this particular view, you simply move your cursor to that view and you middle mouse button click on it and it gets maximized. Next thing I'm going to show you is the transform tools. In Cinema 4D we have 3 transform tools, which is usually the same across all 3D softwares. The first one is the move tool, and the next one is the scale tool, and the next one is the rotate tool. Now I'm going to drop an object in our scene and we're going to see how this works. To create a cube in our scene, you simply click on this icon right here. By left clicking on this icon, the cube gets created in the center of our scene, basically the origin. Now when you create an object, the object gets dropped in the object manager here, right here, or you call it an object panel. And you're able to change the name by just double clicking. I'm going to call this base mesh. Having done that, I'm going to move to my attribute area here. Now whatever you create in Cinema 4D is dropped right in the object area and usually comes with attributes. Now we have different shapes, you call them different primitives, and the way you access those primitives are by long pressing right here. So you left click on this and then you hold it down and this shelf pops out. So we have the null, disk, cube. We have so many different primitives here, right? So I'm going to quickly drop a capsule as well, then I'm going to move it out. Now the reason why you're not seeing a capsule when it gets created is because it's directly in the center of the scene and it's sitting in the middle of this cube. So I'm just going to move this out by just left clicking on this axis and I'm moving this out. So now we have the cube and we have a different set of attributes as well. Now I'm going to move this cube back here and then push it up right here. Now I want to find a way to connect this guy to this guy, and so wherever he goes, he follows. Basically in Cinema 4D that is called parenting. For me to do that, I simply click on this cube right here. I'm going to left click and hold it and drag it directly on top of this capsule. And right now Cinema 4D is showing you an arrow. Basically what Cinema 4D is saying is that if you drag this object on top of this object, you are making the base mesh a child of the capsule. And immediately I drop that, it creates this kind of look. And you can click on the capsule and wherever you move the capsule, the base mesh follows, which is what we call parenting in Cinema 4D. I'm going to quickly undo that by doing Ctrl Z. So I'm going to quickly undo that by pressing Ctrl Z. Now the next thing I want to touch on is the layer manager in Cinema 4D. The layer is a very important part in Cinema 4D, and basically what it does is to allow you to group your objects in layers. Now this is very useful when you're creating large projects or even small projects. For me to create a layer, I simply go to my layer manager right here and double click on this. So I'm clicking twice, left clicking twice, and now I get a layer created. I can always double click on this and change it to maybe group 1, and I can double click again to create another layer. So I go to group 2, there you go, and I can begin to group these things into layers. The way I do that basically is to just drag this object and drop it into this so it goes into the layer 1. Another way to do this is to go to this area here, you left click on this, add to layer, then you select the desired layer you want to add it to. right? So now with this thing done, I can always solo this particular layer or solo this particular layer. So this comes in really handy when you're creating large projects and you just want to solo some things out to work on them. If you have so many things in your scene and your scene is beginning to slow down, you can decide to hide some layers as you work, so Cinema 4D is a bit more fluid as you design. Alright, so that is that for lesson 1, and I'll see you in lesson 2.